You know, everybody wants to be at the finish line. When there's a marathon, the biggest crowd is at the finish line. And there's 26 miles before that finish line. And not to mention all the miles before they even join the marathon. And they have to practice and run all those miles practicing so they can run the marathon and have a shot at winning. I mean, nobody runs a marathon without thinking they want to win. They might not have high hopes of winning, but they go in it, and at the very least, they want to beat their own time, you know, beat themselves and win that way. Um, so, but it's not the finish line that's important. It's the journey. It's all those miles where nobody's cheering. Um, Not for you, maybe for the group that you're in, but they're not cheering for you. Uh, and like I said, with the practice, when you run those miles, nobody's cheering at all. You know, so you have to continue and you have to persevere, uh, even when no one's cheering. And you have to keep the goal, which is the finish line, at the forefront of your mind. You know, and and you have to want it. You have to want it. If you don't want it, you can't run a marathon that you don't want to run. It's impossible. Uh, but it's a metaphor for life because so many people they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a movie star, but all the work that goes in to becoming those things. I mean, it's not easy to be a doctor. It's not easy to be a lawyer. It's really not easy to be a movie star because all those things, there are many factors that just just aren't in your control. You have to work for a good law firm. You have to be picked for a movie. Uh, there's much. It's very hard to get through medical school and uh, internships and stuff. And there's many pitfalls. And there's a lot of people set out on those marathons and never make it to the finish line. And what you find out when you get to the finish line is that's not the finish line. That's just the first. That's just the first chapter of the book of you. And there'll be many more finish lines, you hope, in your future and in your book of you. And it's just you can't give up. And there's so much pressure to give up. But like I said, nobody's cheering you on. So if you sit down and you know have a cup of coffee or something while you're running, uh, not that I know that runners drink coffee. I don't know if they do or they don't. I would assume they do. Um, but you know what I'm saying. It's just you can take a break. You feel a little pain, you feel a little tired, you stop running. But when the marathon's running, uh, you can't stop because you're tired. You can't stop because you're in pain. You have to keep going. You have to persevere, and you have to persevere when you're training, so that you persevere when the actual race happens. Which is why when you go to school for all those things I've listed and anything else you might go to school for, they make it hard for you. They make it hard because if the surgery as a doctor student is easy, then when you get to the real deal and it's hard, someone's going to die. You know, um, so they make the school hard. They put things in front of you that are hard to solve, and you have to solve them. And you have to prove that you can solve them. And the dummy or the whatever mock surgery they're doing has to come out alive, and so, it's just, um, it's all about practice. It's all about perseverance, never giving up, and like I said, all the people, they want to go to your graduation as a doctor, they want to go to your graduation as a lawyer, or they want to go to your premiere for your movie as an actor. Um, but they don't know much about how you got there. Uh, they didn't want you run the race. They they were just at the finish line, and some of them knew, but the majority of people don't, and don't care either. Uh, they might ask questions after you get the Oscar, or after you get the internship, or you get the partnership in a law firm. They might ask you how you got there and stuff. They really don't care. Uh, they want to know how your success is going to affect them. Uh, if it's your wife, or your mother, or your brother or sister, or stuff like that. What does it mean for them? And just like if you win the New York City Marathon, and you know, what does it mean for me as a mother or a brother to someone who won it? And I mean, I don't think it's the same, but you get the idea. Um, it's just like Michael Phelps. He's the most decorated Olympian of all time, and he spent many hours in a pool, swimming laps, swimming fast, going fast, as fast as he could, in a pool with nobody there, nobody watching him. And he had to do it every morning and every afternoon. He was in that pool, swimming and swimming and swimming, and it takes a special person to do that, because most people would give up. Most people would say, "I'm ready. I'll win the race. I can do it. I don't have to practice. I got this down." And they don't. Tiger Woods had a golf course in his backyard, and he practiced all the time. He played golf all the time, not just when he played tournaments. He was practicing golf all the time, and that's why he was what he was. You know, a lot of your basketball stars have a basketball court in their house, uh, part of their house, an indoor basketball court, so they can play all year round indoors. And and they can afford it, so they do it. And it's important they can afford it because they play good basketball and they know how to play, and they can afford it because what basketball affords them. You know, it's just like somebody who plays piano, like a Barry Manilow or Billy Joel. They play piano all the time, not just on stage. They're always sitting at the piano. They've always got a piano in their apartment, in their they when they rent the hotel room, they ask for the hotel room with a piano, and stuff like that. So it's just that that's what you do. That's what you do, you know. And they don't see it as a job. They love it. They think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And it's not about making money. It's not about making money. It's about um, perfecting your craft. It's just like an artist draws. Whether he sells the drawing or not is irrelevant. He likes to draw. He likes to create. And a sculptor, makes sculptures not because they're going to be worth a lot of money, but because that's what he likes to do. That's what his passion, his calling, is to do. You and and if you don't have that, then whatever you're doing now, if you don't have a calling to do whatever you're doing now, you shouldn't do it. To find what your calling is. Everybody has a calling, but a lot of people don't do it. The guy working at McDonald's uh, is not working his calling. Maybe he is. Maybe I can't say. Maybe he wants to get into sales or wants to learn how to cook. And you can do that there. Uh, but you know what I'm saying. But maybe he wants to run a business. He wants to be a manager. He wants to be an owner one day, and that's fine. If business is what you want to do, that's fine. Don't make making money as your focus of the business. Make helping people the focus of your business because that's where your money's going to come from. It's just like acting. When you get your first acting job, you're going to get paid nothing, and you don't do it for the money. You do it because you love acting. And when you run a marathon, there's not much money in it. If you win, you don't get that much money, and not for the amount of work you put in. And so you got to do it because you love it. Like these videos, you'll never hear me say, um, click I don't even know what it is, subscribe button. And there's no monetary here. I'm not making any money. I'm not charging any money. I don't want your money. I don't care. It's not why I'm doing it. Money to me is negative. It's not a good thing, and it causes more problems. You get used to money, and then that's a problem in itself. You know, but you have to work at what you love to do, and then you don't work. This ain't work to me. It's fun to me. I love coming up with new concepts, new ideas. I'm hope I'm fresh. I hope I'm not boring. Every video, I think of my old videos, and I'm like, I already did that already. I don't want to do it again. Uh, but if I do, I try to put a new twist to it, a new approach, a new perspective. A lot of my old videos I don't take down, or some I can't, but uh, my opinion on those videos has changed because I've changed. I don't no longer feel that way. A lot of it, that's not true either. A lot of it, I do feel that way, and I still feel that way. If it's truth, it's truth, and I'm not going to change my opinion if I feel it's still the truth. You know, uh, but I do evolve, and I'm not pig-headed enough to think that I couldn't be wrong, or that over time things change. You know, just like a lot of you thought that voting for Trump was a good idea. Now I don't know that you all think that. So I hope not. But it's just things change over time, and that's all I'm saying. Is to be stuck in the past is is no good. Uh, but life is a journey. It's not the A to B. It's in the middle. When you look at your tombstone, or anybody's tombstone, I guess you can't look at your own. I guess if your family plot, you could, but it says your birth date. It says your birth date, and then there's a dash, and it says your death date. The dash is your life. The dash is the journey. The birth date and the death date is the A to B, beginning and ending. But the dash is where everything happens. You know, so live in the dash. Don't, don't worry about the dates. You know, you didn't pick the birth date, and you're not going to pick the death date. But all the dash stuff you can pick. You can do what you want. And some of those things will make that death date come quicker or not. Depends if you smoke, you drink, or you're reckless, or whatever. Um, so don't do those things. You know. But If that's what you want to do. It's your dash. You do with it what you want. It's your dash. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. Uh, just don't don't focus on the win. Focus on getting there. You know, it's like the Knicks when they won uh, this last championship. The championship they hadn't had in, I don't know, 50 years. Uh, it was the journey. It wasn't the destination. And they made it. And they made it. I counted them out because they always choked. The Knicks were famous for choking in the last minute. And they didn't do that this time. So, it's just, and if they had, then I would have been right. You know, but I don't know. It just came down to the last few minutes, like basketball usually does. It comes down to the last minute. And I guess it was game 4 that it came down to the last minute. Uh, so, it's just, that's how the game works. That's how they play the game. But there's a lot leading up to that last minute. If you don't do all those things before that last minute, you lose. And you lose big time. You know. So you have to, it's all the build up. One shot builds on the last one. One score adds to the last one. If you don't have the build up, you don't have anything to win with. The point spread. And I don't know. Just don't focus on losing. Focus or winning. Focus on the journey. The journey is where it's at.